Hello, and welcome to Twin Study After Dark. I'm your host, Sallie, joined by my co-host, Katie. We're identical twin sisters. We invite you to join us as we investigate our similarities and differences in all things life has to offer. Hello, and welcome to Twin Study After Dark. I'm your host, Sallie.
And I'm your other host, Katie.
Welcome in. We're going to talk about something really fun. Do you know what it is? Well, you don't. Because I'll come up with the content. So I have some news to share. And because I know that haters watch you closer than even the ones that love you most,
so much closer.
Yeah. So I want to just give a little shout out to our 1-star review. Thank you.
I don't keep up with that kind of stuff, so I don't know that. But
there was just this 1-star review, and because all the 5-star reviews are from our lovey study buddies, I know this 1-star review actually is our extra credit student because they have taken the time to think thoroughly about how much they hate us.
But I think all feedback is good feedback, and to have a 1-star review makes us more credible.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, we're the real deal now.
I think so, too.
Not only are we in 150 cities, we are also in I think we're up to 12 different countries, but one of you in one of those cities and countries hates us. And I am just laughing because, I mean, I guess that means you made it.
I think the more hate, the better. And I've said this so many times before, because if people hate you, then good, you stood up for something.
Agreed.
So I don't want to be liked by anybody or everybody. And I do not feel like if I was actually liked by everybody, I wasn't a real person.
I agree.
I wasn't myself. I didn't speak my truth. I didn't fight for what I really believe in. And the fact that I've put myself out there and stood up for myself and fought for what I believe in, there may have been hate that formed, but it speaks more about the person than it does about me. So
I know. That's the thing. It's like, I don't think you can get through this world without upsetting somebody. And
you can, but
but it's sad.
existence.
That's sad.
Right.
Yeah.
If you get through the world with everybody loving you and no hate or whatever,
you weren't
then you really did not ever go out of your way to, in my opinion, stand up for somebody else or make it a point to ruffle a few feathers for something you truly stand for.
Yeah. So anywho, that goes along with my topic today. So my topic was kind of I wanted us to discuss when people say, what do they say? They say any not feedback is good feedback, any attention is good. No, any press is good press kind of thing.
Yeah.
What do you feel about that? We've been in
all press is good press.
All press is good press. Okay.
I agree.
You do?
I think it's hard not to. Relevancy. What?
So, no, I hate, honestly, I can joke about it, but I don't like people hating me. It's taken me a really long time. I'm finally at, we're 35. I'm finally at the age where I can be peaceful with it, but it takes me a couple days.
Okay, so I have, because we're 35 and I think I'm at the tail's end of caring what other people think about me, I have been in situations where I've met people and instantaneously knew I knew that they didn't like me or they were judging me.
Oh God, yeah.
In that moment, you just
what did they get? What did they they looked at you weird?
You get that feeling where they say something to you and you're like, this person doesn't respect me.
All the people that are where are your children? Because I'm a stay-at-home mom and I'm like, oh, you didn't know I'm still allowed to leave the house. Even though I'm a stay-at-home mom.
But then after the fact, I have beat myself up over, I hate that I had that gut reaction. I hate that my insides churned I got a gross feeling from that person, and then I self-hate for having that gross feeling, and then months later that person ends up doing something that's really mean to me and like screwing me over in a way, and it's like, you should have trusted your gut. Why were you so focused on hurting yourself for having a gut reaction when in reality your body and your mind was telling you this person's not good for you?
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, I think we went all over the place with that. So my question was, is any press good press? And then Katie took it real personal.
I did.
I don't disagree. I think when you first meet someone, you know immediately, like, not always, because like I think there were a couple friends I really
Some of
actually
my best friends are
Yeah,
friends that I was like,
I
I don't think
hate
we're gonna be
them.
friends.
No, but like you do feel like an immediate reaction towards them and
Mhm.
like not an indifference. No, I do say trust your body and the clues that it gives you, but no, when it comes to press and any press being good press for like a podcast in specific, it's engagement, so it helps, right? Like you just want engagement.
Right.
And we're obviously talking about some subjects and could be highly annoying. Like I know that our voices are not. I just burped.
She burps all the time.
I know our voices are not like
She burps. She says
super.
the word like.
Well, we're from the Midwest. Like
Yeah.
we say, like we have an accent. We're, so I get it if people are gonna hate us, and we're talking about things that they could be like. I mean, maybe I don't know. For all I know, that one star is from like an ex-boyfriend that we said was terrible in bed. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? So like, I guess whatever.
I've never said anybody was terrible in bed on this podcast.
Have you not?
No.
Oh, well,
No.
we should definitely talk
could.
about that. We could talk about that.
I could, but I haven't.
Yeah,
We said many times, the worst of it will never even make it to this podcast. So
yeah. So anywho, I think that negative engagement, unfortunately, it's part of life. But I would say that I think it's better to have negative engagement than not, because it means that people are listening that aren't your loved ones. You know what I mean? Like
you also just need to have thick skin. If you can like laugh at yourself and be like, ha ha ha, I have a hater.
The older I get, the more I'm like, oh my God, that's so crazy and funny that like people like literally hate me. Like that's crazy, but it's also like I said and you said, I think that it's a sign of you just becoming more authentically yourself. I also think when you have a platform, you need to get really comfortable with hearing those things about you.
Oh yeah.
Because you're putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
And it's a choice you make, right? For any like influencer or anything, they make that choice.
You're going to have haters.
You're going to have haters.
There's no way around
There's people that literally just like to hate on people. And like that's crazy. I've never once like wrote a bad comment or attacked someone online. And it's crazy that some people do that.
I remember when I was in college, there were like people that were like more petty, like that would say things online to you, like in your Facebook, I don't know, conversations or whatnot. Facebook, I don't even posts. But that hasn't been a thing for however many years. How long was that? Like that was how long ago? 15 years ago?
So long.
Yeah. I had a girl once say that we
should talk about the worst things people have said about us.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah.
On one time on Facebook, a girl told me that I needed to join The Biggest Loser because I was so fat.
Mm-hmm.
That was good. That was
at
a good
100
time.
and what 30 pounds. You were just.
I think I was 148 pounds at that time, and I know that because I signed up for Weight Watchers.
That is so mean. Oh my God.
Yeah. And she said, you have to join The Biggest Loser.
Oh my God, that's so mean.
She also tried to light my hair on fire.
This girl was crazy.
So,
and her name was I can't say it, but it was a male.
Safe to say she doesn't listen to the podcast.
Wasn't it a male name that started with a G?
So the crazy thing about this girl is she went on to be a therapist.
No,
working therapist in the mental health community.
That is terrible.
Yeah, I know. That's her profession now. So,
I mean, she's probably doing it because she figured so much about herself. Like, she's like, I do think sometimes, like, maybe she needed to just, like, dive in. Maybe she's a better person.
She's never reached out to apologize for anything she put me through. I don't know if there was any growth, but it is wild to me that somebody who is probably the biggest bully I'll ever have in my life.
She tried to light your hair on fire
Like,
in college.
yeah. So, what about you? What's the worst
Oh
thing
my
somebody's ever done to
God.
you?
So many people say mean things to me, but not anymore. Oh, well, I mean, I don't know what people say behind my back. I can assume. I don't know. Maybe I'm too scary. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I mean,
Okay, so
no,
I
no, no,
want to
but
say, though, when I was younger, especially when I was in college, because I don't think I was like this in high school, but when I was in college, I like became a very weak version of myself where I didn't stand up for myself and I allowed that behavior to happen.
Mhm.
And I got really depressed and I would cry or I'd be, like I would honestly, yeah, like I got to the lowest place I've ever been in my life, but like I wasn't fighting back,
Yeah,
And so like
that's
if
crazy.
you're not in a position to understand your own worth to like stand up for yourself, that's like the hardest part of
Yeah.
that situation is it just gets heavy.
I haven't had I'm very fortunate. Like I haven't had bullies. I don't that I remember that have said things to me. Like which has been nice. I've had my fair share of like exes that might say like hurtful things, but like that's a relationship and it's like, like everyone's growing and I don't think that any of them are bad people, you know? But
Yeah.
I have had people say that I'm going to go to hell and they thought that it was not mean of them to say that and it hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
So I have but I don't think that they thought it was like mean when they said it
Yeah.
like because they're very Christian. So I don't know. It's yeah.
I
So
had this other friend in my lifetime who always I feel like the reason you weren't bullied is because you stand up for yourself.
I always had a friend group around me too that if I didn't do it, they would do it.
Exactly. And I had this other friend who did that. Like she was very brave. She always stood up for herself and nobody really messed with her. Like it'd be a waste of time to mess with her because she had so much confidence. And I just at that time didn't have confidence.
That's so sad.
So I don't know. But anyways, we're getting off track of like
Well, no, I think kind of though. We said we were going to say the worst things people have ever said about us. So the worst thing anyone's ever said about me probably is that they made me feel like religiously shamed because I don't practice how they practice. That has been the most hurtful thing for me. And your worst thing someone said to you was that you
I
need
don't
to.
think that's the worst thing anybody has said to me. I said, but that was.
Oh,
that's
wait,
not the
is there
worst thing.
is there more?
I feel like there's so many
Oh no.
things.
Okay, I did have an ex that like I was like so rude to him. Because like back in the day, you were rude and got drunk and had fights and I was like, "You're definitely an alcoholic. Like you have to drink every night." And he said, "I'm an alcoholic because I'm living with you." so like
Yikes.
so like when it comes to relationships, we've been there. Like people have said mean things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, one time somebody said that my job was equivalent to working at PacSun.
Oh God. What's wrong with working for PacSun?
Right? Like, I mean, come on.
Bitch.
I don't know. I guess people have said mean things. I don't carry it usually. Like it doesn't hurt me anymore, so it's hard to think of it.
Yeah, it's hard to like go back. It's really hard to think of it as well for me, but I know there's been a lot of times where people have said something and it's always coming from the other person's insecurity.
Yeah.
And like even at the lowest I've been, if I've ever resorted to being hurtful to another person, it's a reflection of where I'm at. It's never really about that person.
Yeah. What's another thing people have said to you?
Whew. Yeah.
That like I've said you're really mean sometimes. Like you
Oh,
have rage sometimes. Like stuff that's really
I
scary.
have rage. You've called me a narcissist.
Yeah, I know. Well, I do want to say though, during the hurricane, Kate's gonna kill me for saying this. We have a generator. One generator.
I'm joking. That was a joke.
Okay, can I tell the story?
Yeah, you can.
We
It was a joke, by the way. It really was.
I did not see it as a joke.
Oh my
She
God.
texted me and She, by the way, her son was at his dad's house. She was alone. She was like an adult human in her home alone. And we have a generator. And she texts me and she goes, "Hey, if you're not using the generator, I want it." And I'm like, "No, we're using the generator. Like, we have 4 kids and me and Adam." And she was like, "Are you like?" I forget how did it go. It was so funny though. And then she was like, "Ugh, like I have to. Oh, I have to go to work."
Okay,
You said I have to go to work.
I guess I'll look like a lunatic
Going to work.
I
And
ended up staying home, working from home.
And I literally was like, "Okay, well, you can come over and sleep with Scott. Like, you can bed share with him because we're going to have the generator. There are more people over here." So I've called you a narcissist, but you have tendencies where
I think, okay,
I'm like,
I'm really actually feeling though that you do not decipher my sarcastic comments through text at all.
no, I was like, I told Adam, I was like, "Why would this ever be okay? It's an adult person, like one person." And she's like wanting the generator.
Oh
I was like, "We need the generator." So like yes, but twins say the meanest things to each other.
That's just sisters.
No,
like
yeah.
We've talked about this before, is like we can say the meanest things about each other, but the moment somebody else says it, we're like, "What are you talking about?"
Oh my God, the moment, like, people don't even play anymore. Like, nobody will, anyone who's close to me would never say anything bad about you because I've weeded those people out. You can't say something bad about Katie. Only I can. Like,
Yeah,
I
and
can run my
trust
mouth.
me,
You can't.
and if you really want to say something bad about me, I have trust that Sally will deliver the information to me.
Trust that I've already told her.
Receive it from my blood. The person closest to me will deliver it.
You know, like your womb roommate, not like I don't even care. Family's not blood.
Right,
You go like we're like womb mates, but womb mates. That's so cute. Womb mates.
Yeah.
No, you think you can hurt us? No, you can't. Katie already said it to me.
Well,
like I've already heard it.
How many times I've been to therapy and I've been like, "How do you know if you're a narcissist?" Every time the therapist is like, "If you're questioning it, you're not."
No,
but when you have a sibling that's so close to you that just like says the things that like will hurt them, like
you're not the reason why.
You get used to like hearing it, you know?
Yeah, you're not the reason why I've ever questioned I'm a narcissist, but I think that like if anyone was being honest that goes to therapy, you've had that question because there's somebody in your life who actually is a narcissist or has narcissistic tendencies, and they've forced you like not forced you, but like they've made you feel so insecure that you're like, "I need to go talk about this. Like I must really be terrible."
I'm the problem. I say that all the time. Like all the time, I'm just like, I know I'm the problem.
Are you Taylor Swift?
I am. No,
it's me.
I wouldn't complain.
I'm the problem. It's me. No, but the thing is, okay, so I think that's something people can relate to because I think most people I know have ended up in therapy because they have one relationship or a couple that, or I don't know, it depends what your family is like or friends, but that you're like, what the hell? Like, is there so much wrong with me that they are so upset with me? Or what am I doing? And then you go and talk to a therapist and you're like, okay, like this is really helpful, but I do think the fastest way to find out a narcissist truly is to ask if you've gone to therapy because they never do.
No,
they never go to therapy.
The fastest way to find out a narcissist is to set a boundary.
Oh God, well that's true.
If you set a boundary with a narcissist, they will not respect it.
They just go past it,
and
go past it again.
Can I brag for a little bit?
Okay.
I really respect boundaries. Right?
I mean, I'm learning that like that we had a narcissist in our life that literally, I'm not kidding you, broke every fucking boundary starting with like the tiniest request. And then eventually they just kept going and going and going to like the point where you freak out. And then you're the bad guy because you freaked out because they crossed every boundary, but that's what they want you to do.
But then you have to be okay with being the bad guy.
No, I know.
And the thing is, like, when you create a boundary for somebody who's just, you know, like that person that's
so
like,
toxic.
So toxic. Every time they're around, they make it like something's wrong. Like it could be Christmas and there'd be like your babies are going to hell because they haven't been baptized. And you're
No,
like, is this
Lord.
really the time to have this conversation?
Or like your
Um,
babies. Yeah. There's so
whatever.
much. Yeah.
There's so many things. That's just one example. But like, if you're like, hey, we'd really like to not bring up religion today. Okay, Christmas is a bad example.
On point of Jesus' birthday.
Like,
Can we not talk about it?
okay, so bad example. On a Tuesday. If it's just a random ass Tuesday and they're bringing it up, you're like,
Or if it's like
really?
your child's birthday and
Yeah.
they're like bringing up shit like, you didn't acknowledge me on my child's birth. It's like, it's not the day that's about you.
Or like the mothers, like, that expect like their child to thank them on their child's birthday.
No, or oh god. No, or the people that are like, I need to be in the delivery room when your vagina is ripped open. Like there's just people that literally like are so disrespectful.
And you could be like, in the most kind way, be like, I hear what you're saying. I love that for you, but for us, we're trying to make it our moment. But this is family. This is like personal between me and my partner. Blah 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 blah. And they're like, all of a sudden showing up in the back of the room, and you're like, my
like
vagina is open.
That's a huge boundary. Like that's the thing. It's like every therapist I've gone to when it comes to dealing with people who have narcissistic tendencies, they're always like, okay, we'll try to set this boundary and try to set. But it is true. If you ever wanted to know a narcissist, set the tiniest boundary. They will cross it. Set a boundary that's a little bit bigger. They'll cross it. Another one, a little bit bigger. Because it's just pure selfish.
They will keep crossing it and keep making every moment about themselves.
Yes.
Like, even though you could say, like, hey, like, we really, this is like, I don't even know what to use an example, but like, hey, like on Tuesdays, I'm going back to Tuesdays. On Tuesdays, we take the kids to soccer and then we come home and we do homework. So I really respect that you don't come over because like it's really important. They don't have a lot of time to do their homework, so it's really important when we get home they have the time. And I know like if somebody comes over, they'll get distracted, blah blah blah. This is not a big deal, but like please like respect that. Then they show up after soccer and they have pizzas and they're trying to make it a fun event or whatever, and you're like, hey man, I honestly, I love this. Thank you so much. You're so sweet to us. But I told you, like, the kids just need to do their homework. Like, this is always an issue every night. Like, every Tuesday we have this issue. And then they'll be like, I brought you pizza.
Yeah, like, I gave you all these gifts.
Like, what are you talking about?
You should be thankful for the gifts. And we're like, we don't even want the gifts. Like, what?
This didn't have to be, it's a non-issue. But then they, like, blow it out of proportion.
Yeah. No, so the thing about that is I think everybody, excuse me. I think everybody in our time period, like we are diagnosing people with narcissism and they just honestly have narcissistic tendencies. I think it's on a sliding scale. I think everybody to some degree is very selfish.
I do think that most people have a narcissistic tendency or a couple narcissistic.
But there's some people that
therapists would say that
blow it out of the park.
But the disability, like narcissistic, the actual mental disability of being a narcissist is it's way more complex than like people being selfish.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. But yeah, anyway, if you have a narcissist, try to set a boundary. But I am a firm believer of like snippety snip snip. They don't need to be around if they're gonna be crossing every boundary.
Blues. No, I heard there's a song that I've been listening to recently that was like I forget what it is, but it's like I cut out people like tags in clothing, and I was like, yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, I think our generation really understands this because I do think a lot of us struggled with being people pleasers, and guys, that is such a thing when you don't have kids. But when you have kids and you're raising them, you don't have time to be a people pleaser anymore. I don't have time. I constantly think about the people my kids would have to cut out if I never did it. Like, I'm like, if I don't do it, they're going to have to do it eventually. Like, then it becomes their job. So generationally, you just need to, like, you need to step up and know your worth. And, like, if somebody is not being a good person or, like, a good friend or whatever, like, please take initiative and, like, cut it because, like, your kids don't need to deal with that someday.
Yeah.
That's so unfair to them.
And something that I know I'm going through, you recently, I feel like, gone through, or just as you get older, it's okay to not be liked. Like, not everybody needs to like you. Like, there are people where I've looked at them and I've been like, oh my God, they seem so cool, but they don't like me. I'm not gonna go bend over backwards to make this person like me. Like, if they don't like me, they don't like me, and like we can move on in peace, and it is what it is.
Also, though, like from a spiritual level, is like everybody's on such a different path, and like you might be on a totally different path than them, and like sometimes you just need to like leave each other behind, because like that will benefit both of you in different ways.
Yeah.
You know? So no, I definitely think that, yeah, narcissism, it's like very prevalent, and I don't know why. I would love to study that.
I don't know if it's prevalent. It's trending to say narcissist.
Yeah.
I feel like it's trendy to use that term.
Yeah.
But the reality is there are people that have this condition and there are people that don't. But I do think that there are a ton of mental health issues that have overlapping symptoms. And so you can't really diagnose anybody. Like, that's not fair to do.
I do want to say, for anybody that's like dealing with that type of relationship right now, because I think everybody goes through this type of relationship at some point in your life. When I talk to like my therapist, and I've interviewed so many amazing therapists on this show, do not feel bad if you lose it. Like, you lose it because you've cared, you've tried to be a good person, and yeah, you lose it and you like freak out on them. But narcissists are smart, and I think like it's easy to keep giving the benefit of the doubt, like, oh, they meant this, or they meant this, or type thing. And it's like they're adults too, usually.
Well, and that when you lose it, that energy feeds them.
And that's the thing. So that's why the best thing you can do, they say, is gray rock them or whatever. It's basically,
I think it's
Stonewall. I don't know, but it has something to do with a stone. But basically, be completely silent, because
like, do not respond.
Yeah, but I know that sometimes they trigger you so much you finally lose it. But they use that as ammunition to say you're the bad guy and divert from what they did. So like, honestly, just know that we totally relate. Like everyone
care. So their thing too is they care so much about how they are perceived by others that they will like instigate and like push until you are the bad guy.
Yeah.
The only way to defeat a narcissist is by not responding at all. Yeah. No involvement whatsoever, no matter what they could say. They could say something incredibly triggering. They could be physically triggering, but you have got to be the person that's like, I'm not responding, goodbye. I'm not responding, goodbye. I'm not. And this could drive you insane. It probably will drive you insane to go right to therapy. But,
yeah.
But the thing is, responding is like fuel for them.
It's horrible.
They will feed
and like
off of it.
Also, it's like, it feels like when you're responding, like you're literally like sending messages that are like paragraphs long, and they're just like not getting it. Like they're just like refuse to,
like, none of that will actually ever soak into them. They'll never get it. And honestly, like I said, their biggest concern is other people's perception of them. So unfortunately, with the people closest with them, like their children or their family, they essentially abuse them to the point where the non-narcissist becomes the villain, but that is perfect for a narcissist.
It's a scapegoat.
They can go to anybody else in the outer world and say, my son treats me so terrible.
You know what, though? I read this.
Yeah.
And I think they said that they're either always the victim or the what was it? A narcissist is always the victim, or I don't know, but basically, like, if they're God damn it.
I just know, so in dating too, because now we watch like Love is Blind and all that, silly shows or whatnot, and there are narcissistic tendencies I pick up on, but one of the biggest red flags in like the dating pool that I've observed is when you are in conflict with your partner about an issue that you're having, and their biggest concern is what everybody else at the party thought.
Yes.
Like, you are in a moment of whatever it is, like conflict with your partner about something, and they're like, well, now so and so thinks this about me.
Yeah,
or,
like now all these people are gonna
and
hate
you're
me.
like,
Yeah.
what? It's not even about them. Like, what are
Yeah.
you talking about? Like, who the fuck cares? They
Yeah.
care so deeply about the general public's reflection of them. So it's so hard to bring a narcissist to therapy because the whole time they will be sitting in front of the therapist and
Proving themselves. Like just like being like, I'm a good person.
using the
Yeah.
therapist, like making them look like a saint, and in the way that is so mind manipulating, because you as their partner are sitting there and they'll say to the therapist, like, oh, like, I know I can have anger issues. I know I do this. Like, they can admit their wrongdoings, but then at the same time, they're doing it in a way to be respected and to gain the approval of the therapist sitting in front of them.
Yeah.
Not,
And also they'll use that like one time you freaked out to be like, they were screaming at me and like that's, and then they paint you to be like the crazy one.
totally.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
We need to invite somebody on to talk about narcissism. Because I do think that the term is overused.
I do too. Yeah, I do too. And I think everybody has qualities. I want to take this time to apologize. I know that you're not an actual narcissist, but when
I had to go to a professional to get those.
But I do think you can be selfish sometimes.
I'm very selfish, and I honestly I admit I'm selfish, and it is
she just wanted that generator.
No, I admit I'm selfish, and I also admit that it's all about self-protection. I do think that I have a tendency to like be very protective of myself and my son, and like put my family unit before.
Theo was not home at the time of the generator.
That text was enough. I will go down, and it was a direct text after Dad had said something sarcastic. So I know that we were joking in that text.
I did not know. I did not know, and I was so annoyed.
I need to put like my texts in a different
color. I was literally just thinking like put them in pink. Okay, can we just talk about how some people just don't understand sarcasm?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If you don't understand sarcasm, please just get off the podcast right now, because we are going to offend you. Like literally, like the hurricane came through, and Katie and her best friend, who she lived in Sarasota, her friend texted her, "Hey, nice knowing ya."
No, we didn't text each other. I was on the phone.
Oh, you said it verbally.
I was on the phone with her, and I was like, like, if you don't make it through, I loved you. I always have. And we both just burst out laughing. This is so dark and twisted and fucked up.
We are sarcastic people.
I understand. We are fucked in the head.
But it really does.
But we both laughed.
But so people that don't know us well will like hear us say something and be like, I don't understand, or that sounds offensive, or whatever. When really, like, we just think dark humor is hilarious. Like, we do like dark humor. It took Adam a while to understand it, and like I think I've said this, he tries, and it's so sad because he actually does offend people because
he tries to be sarcastic.
It doesn't land. Like, he doesn't have the it takes some finesse to like be kind of sarcastic and land, right? He doesn't have like the inflections in his voice. So like if he were to say it to Nikki, he'd be like, well, I won't ever see you again. I guess goodbye. Like, he literally has no inflection. You need to kind of have it.
But also in a cancel culture, it is such a risk to be sarcastic. Because we are naturally sarcastic.
That's like if it was a 90s comedy
if it was
movie.
Like Lord Farquaad. Talk about Shrek for a second. In Shrek, there's a line where Lord Farquaad,
the little Lord
goes, some of you may die, but it is a risk I am willing to make. Okay.
This is our comedy. We love it.
We laugh so hard at that. Like, of course we don't want people to die. Like,
but there's actually people that talk like that in real life. But they're like serious. They're literally serious. Where you're like, you look at each other and you're like, wait, is that like real? Like, what?
Oh my God. It is so funny.
You know what I also noticed is that, like, well, we've talked about this a little bit. We laugh when we're uncomfortable too.
Yeah.
So like when people are making us feel really uncomfortable, people are always like, you're so nice. Like, you're so bubbly. You're like the sweetest person. I can't imagine you like stepping on anyone's toes.
Nobody's ever called me the sweetest person.
Oh, really?
Never.
I just am like always thinking to myself, I literally laugh when I feel uncomfortable. So like if I'm uncomfortable, I probably do look like the nicest person because I'm just like smiling.
I'll be like in the middle of a breakup and like laughing. And I'll be like, why are you laughing right now? I'm like, because this is so awkward. Like
this is just honestly like it's a
we clearly have issues.
No, it's like therapists could like figure it out. Why, like, guys, we have so many issues. Our therapists haven't even gotten here yet with us.
There are probably our attachment.
They need to ask like why we make like jokes about like serious things.
Yeah,
but
it's clearly deflecting something.
It's deflecting. Anyways, any good comedian could probably give us the answer. Taylor Tomlinson.
I do think that most comedians do the exact same thing.
Yeah,
they have to find something funny about a very serious event, and then they create their material about it.
Because everything about human interaction is so fucking funny. Like, it's funny.
If you have the ability to observe without emotion, you will laugh.
Like our 1-star review. Like our 1-star review, we were just like, okay, this is like actually funny.
Inconvenience is funny.
Yeah, it is.
There's so much humor to be had.
Oh my God. Okay, so I have a story. So when I was teaching, my first year teacher, like when you're a first year teacher, you don't know what you're doing. And I had the worst class in the world, and I won't shout out the school, but it was just like, seriously, I'm not even kidding you. There were kids that would throw desks across the whole room. Like, it was so bad.
So like little Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, like little second graders that just like, oh my God, like they would draw like threatening things. It was terrible. But I was so miserable every day. And then me and one of my teacher partners, we just decided every day we had to walk into the school and pretend we were on a comedy show. like we were like in a movie or comedy. And I'm like, as soon as I changed my perspective, I'm like, this is actually a comedy.
This is really funny.
Everything was insane. Like, I was just like, this is hilarious. Like,
it's like Abbott Elementary.
I haven't watched.
It's
I haven't watched.
Funny.
I've watched a couple of episodes, but like seriously, like there's just like, I venture to say, if you are a depressed person and you are like the type of person where you're like, damn, I'm so upset with this boss, or like I'm over this job, or being a stay-at-home mom is hard. Look at your day, turn it around, and say, what would it look like if it was a comedy show? Like, it is actually funny. Because like, think of a stay-at-home mom. Like, oh, they just spilled paint down the stairs. They put it on the counter. One's crying because they threw something. Like, that in a comedy would be hilarious.
Yeah.
But like in real life, it's something that stresses us out.
Totally.
But yeah, we're just like living in a movie. You guys, you didn't need to choose what movie you want. Do you want a horror film? Like, do you want a comedy? Do you want a romantic film?
Drama?
Do you want a drama?
Yeah.
I don't want drama. I'd rather have comedy.
Yeah. For sure.
I mean, clearly I'm not going to be laughing if like something serious happens, but
you might.
No, but like not like actual serious.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, that is generally the path we take, and it is 110% a defense mechanism.
It's a defense mechanism. I mean, we're running out of time, but last story here. There was one time, this isn't even that serious, but I'm thinking about like something I laughed at that like maybe we shouldn't be laughing about. One time Sallie invited me over to take family photos of her and her family. She had a flight out to Greece that day.
Yeah.
And so we have like
No, I wasn't taking photos of my family. I was taking photos of you.
Oh, really? Was it me?
You and Theo.
Oh, okay. So wow. Okay. So my memory isn't even correct.
Yeah, we have horrible memories.
So
this is why we podcast.
We're in the backyard. Like, she has a field behind her house, and it's really pretty. So, but she starts getting attacked by fire ants. Like, they crawl up.
Let me describe it. So okay, so I knelt down to get a good angle. You know, you want the good angle. Yeah. I knelt into a giant fire ant pile, and to say that it was thousands, if not millions, like they tore up both legs all the way past my butt and vagina into my stomach. I'm not kidding you. How many guys? It was insane. It was insane.
Yeah. So again, like, it felt really funny at the time, but the reality
It didn't
is,
feel
like,
funny.
she started to have a allergic reaction.
No,
so she had to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
This caused her to have to go to the hospital,
Yeah.
and she had a flight and blah, blah, like, granted, like, if she missed the flight, it's not the end of the world. But, like, all in all, she clearly lived.
Yeah.
She knows she's allergic to fire ants now.
Yeah,
But,
I
like,
have EpiPens.
as opposed to reacting, like, in fear, I guess maybe I was in fear, but my initial response was to laugh.
Oh
Like,
my God.
isn't that insane?
Okay, we do need to actually go to therapy. Because, yeah, I ran into the shower and I, like, try to shower them all off me. Because you don't notice it's happening until, like, too late.
My response was, like, to grab the choke.
Oh, well, because you don't want them to be attacked.
Yeah.
Those fire ants, man. But, like, anyway, I went in the shower and, like, after the shower, I was just like, oh my God, they were all over me. And you don't feel it immediately how bad it is. And then, like, an hour later, I was like, guys, like, I can't breathe.
They become, like, blisters, too.
Yeah, no, oh my God. It was like, it's actually disgusting. If you've ever gotten bit by fire ants, you know how this is. But this was like, I'm not even kidding you, millions. And all of them turned into pus-filled blisters.
Yeah.
And they say you're not supposed to pop them. But like, I'm a popper. Like, I love to
Give
squeeze
us
a
a
zit.
pop and we got that pop.
I had an ex that I would pop all the zits on his ass. That's
but like
so disgusting.
Same, like if I see something that can be popped,
no, I'm gonna pop it.
I would.
So they were like, literally, they were like, do not pop them, and like, I couldn't help it because they're like, it'll scar. But it was my both legs, up my butt, up my front side, and I had to go to Greece with an EpiPen. Actually, they gave me a whole pack of EpiPens because they're like, you're actually deathly allergic to fire ants. But I do think that like, if anyone got bitten that much, they'd be allergic.
Right.
Because it was so many.
So many.
Yeah, it was so many. So Katie thought that was funny.
I didn't think, but it was like, the truth is, the reality is, laughter came out of my mouth.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the feeling.
Yeah, we like smile when we're like in pain.
Exactly.
Oh God, that seems like the Joker or something. Like, you know, he's like,
it's like somebody as a kid that wasn't allowed to like show that they're actually
scared.
You know, like whatever, you know, like there's something there.
Yeah.
Like, something like that.
No, like, yes, true. Like how kids are like, you're like, get over it. Like, you're fine. Don't be like, as I think growing up,
like rub some dirt in it.
No, how growing up you couldn't like show emotion because they like shame you for it. We were like, put on a smile. So we're like, like not doing okay. Anywho.
All right. Well, I think that's a way to wrap up the episode.
Yeah.
Please
don't trust us with your love.
Send us a message and tell us like how you react to situations and if anybody else does the laughter thing.
Yeah, or the smiling thing.
Yeah.
It is creepy now that I think about it. It's weird.
It's not creepy.
I just think of the Joker or like Harley Quinn.
Oh, we're not like killing people.
Hey, those fires almost killed me.
Oh, okay. Well, all right.
Hi, everyone. It's Sallie. We're going to leave our story there for today and pick up next week on Twin Study After Dark. If you've enjoyed our podcast today, please rate, review, and subscribe. We'll meet again next week for more Twin Studies.